Hello and welcome to Crypto Weeklies. In this video, we analyze Chainlink and its token Link. None of the content financial advice. Right now, the composite risk for Link accumulation is less than 0.3. It's in an accumulation zone. The price of Link is at around $9.10. It has come down quite a bit from that highs that it enjoyed in late December 2024 and also in August 2025, roughly speaking at around $30. Now the price is less than $10. And from cycle to cycle, I know compared to the 2021 peak at around $38, again ignoring the wick over here, this time only looking at the monthly candle bodies. Again, let's toggle. So these are the regular candles, not the momentum candles. So $38 was the monthly peak in May 2021. This time around the monthly peak was at around $25. It's lower than the previous cycle, but nonetheless it still has been better than most of the other altcoins which had like marginal peaks. So for example, over here Algorand over here had $1.80 as a peak in November 2021, whereas this time around it was almost 1/4 or 1/5 of that peak. So coming back to Link and how it relates to the current price bottoming. So the channel that Link had enjoyed since September 2023 essentially got broken in January 2026. So based on this trend alone and the fact that Link is well below the 20-week simple moving average, which is at around, roughly speaking, $12, the price for Link has gone down quite a bit, signaling one indicator flashing accumulation. The major indicators that are flashing accumulation are the longer term moving average, the blue line which turns white. Whenever this line turns white, it means that the price of Link is lower than the 200-week simple moving average. The 200-week simple moving average is at $12.40. The 300-week moving average is at around $15. So this one is $12.40, the 200-week, and the 300-week is at around $15. That as Link is both below the 300-week and the 200-week simple moving average, this is one strong indicator that the bear market for Link has arrived, and the accumulation zone for Link per the longer term moving average is already here. Not financial advice. Looking at our own models, again, how this 0.3 risk is calculated based first on logarithmic regression deviation, then the time weighted average price deviation. That means how far is the price away from the regression based mathematically calculated fair value, and the time spent or the gravity of time spent based fair value. Let's start with the time weighted average price, which is an easier model to comprehend. The blue line over here is the time based gravity. That means how and where has the asset spent its entire lifetime as it proceeds through the different market cycle. What is the price where the asset has spent very little time, that is under that blue line, which is at $10.70. The price, as the price is current price is below the time weighted average price, this is at risk level 1, and historically speaking, accumulating at risk level 1 has been a sound strategy for Link. You can see only a handful number of time periods does the Link price go below the time weighted average price, and if it goes below the time weighted average price or comes really close to the time weighted average price, usually the bottom is very close or it's in an accumulation phase. Right now that phase for Link is any price below the $10.70, and the time weighted average price takes into consideration the current price and moves in its direction. So for example, if the price is constantly rising, then the time weighted average price rises with it. If the price is constantly falling, the time weighted average price has a slight or a dip commensurate with the drop in price. The time weighted average price for Link has the major rise for the time weighted average price in Link came in between 2019 and 2022. And then essentially the time weighted average price is rising, but in a very flat slope. So right now the time weighted average price model has triggered accumulation. That doesn't mean that the price cannot fall down. From here, in 2023, at the bottom, the difference between the price and the time weighted average price was negative 42%. Right now, it's at around negative 15 to 16%. The worst was negative 20% at that point, and negative 26% in that early February drop. That was almost halfway compared to what link bottom was with respect to the time weighted average price. So most of the damage was done in that February 2026 drop, that early February 2026 drop. And now what likely could happen is, if the price of link were to stay below the time weighted average price for the remainder of 2026, that could be something similar from what link did from mid 2022 till essentially late 2023. Something similar could happen. Again, very less weightage on this, because it's just deriving from historical evidence, but nonetheless, the gravity of time to understand how undervaluation is calculated. It's essentially when the price is below the time weighted average price, you're essentially beating the clock by entering at a level where market has spent very little time. When it's close to blue line, like it was back in 2024, it held support at that time. That means it's in a natural state, and the baseline value that the asset is trading for years, that is the time weighted average price based equilibrium or fair value. And overvalued is basically whenever the asset goes to risk level 6 or beyond. That's when 6 or 7 or beyond. This time around, the peak for link in 2024 came at risk level 8. Next time around, risk level 7 could come into play. And as this model has a dual purpose, finding accumulation zones as well as distribution zones. The accumulation is anytime risk the price goes below risk level 1 or 2. If you are slightly more bullish on link, accumulating at risk level 2 is also not the worst idea. Distribution phases, again, from cycle to cycle varies. I think getting to risk level 10 would require significant altcoin season that we did not see this time around. That's why the price in 2024 peaked at risk level 8, which was still, from the time weighted average price perspective, the price had grown more than 200% from the time weighted average price. That was the difference at that point. So again, in the future, if let's say this model says, and these are all live models and kept updated at my website cryptoweeklies.com, link on the bottom of your screen, and all of them are free for use for all. So if you want to leverage these kind of strategies and want to stay updated, please give this video a like and subscribe to stay with the channel and also help the channel grow. The diminished decay based regression model says that the fair value of link, again the mathematically calculated non-linear fair value of link using polynomial regression function, the price is very close to the fair value at around $8, which is at around $8.20. As the fair value currently has a negative slope, and one could understand why, because link did not make a new all-time high in 2024, and then this structure over here where the lows started becoming the 2024 low was taken out in 2026, and there wasn't essentially an area of support over there. So what the price could do at the floor in the worst case scenario could go as low as this green line over here, which is currently at around $5.41 for link. That's the deep undervaluation zone, considering that the price does not have to have the same kind of drops and accounts for some logarithmic regression based decay. So this model says the floor is at $5.30, whereas if you do not account for diminishing volatility, the regular regression based model says something different, where the floor is at $4.15. So again, the diminishing factor over here makes a lot of difference, and also not just to the downside, to the upside as well. If let's say price were to make an uproar towards the upside, the 3 standard deviation peak, the red line over here for link, is at around $31. Moving forward, again, the slope of the regression function is largely determined by the shape of the price action. So if let's say link makes forms a low somewhere, has a double bottom and starts trending upward, the slope of the regression function, which right now has a downward bias, could start having a upward bias. But for that, Link needs to make a series of higher highs and higher lows. But with the evidence that we have currently, the overvaluation ceiling for Link, again, the 2 standard deviation upper 2 band Link is at around $20. That's where Link found its top in August 2025. So that's the major if there is a major counter trend rally in 2026. The first stop is the 1 standard deviation band, which is at around $12.90, which perfectly coincides with that rally to the 200-week simple moving average, if that happens in the future. And this slope is again slightly diminished. So these lines could meet at $12 level. If we were to extrapolate this behavior and try to come up with a extrapolated bullish trend line for Link using not the non-linear model but the linear regression based fair value estimation, the extrapolated trend line says that again a non-euphoria bull run peak for Link in 2028-2029, that red line over there, could be at around $30. So if Link stays relevant for the next bull run, the next alt season, a $30 Link would be again not too outlandish per this model. Again, this model does not take into consideration the euphoria phases, only the non-euphoria phases in the market cycle. So in terms of the DCA model as it stands currently, the risk level per the regression risk is at 0.16. That's why again the overall composite risk is not very less than 0.3. It's at around, composite risk is at 0.29. One reason being regression risk is slightly elevated. Also the simple moving average price risk is not at its lowest at 0.25, almost at 1/4. So, and also the machine learning based drop, if let's say there are 2 months of more bearish activity, let's say timeline to be decided, but from let's say mid-March to mid-May, the machine learning based drop, where can Link find support, is at around $5.50 to $5.80. This is derived from the weekly price action of Link and the model trend on seasonal ARIMA based time series forecasting and confidence levels based on standard deviation and LSTM based machine learning model to identify what's the bear case, what's the bull case. If let's say there is a counter trend rally, how far can the price action go? If there is 1 month of bullishness, that price action for Link in a non-euphoria counter trend rally could take the price action of Link as high as about $12. And if let's say from that point, if there is another correction in let's say mid-May or from mid-May to mid-July, then again from the floor shifts from the current price of $9 to $12, trying to account in proportions. Again, these models are live. So let's say if there is one counter trend rally, the green line in April or May could look slightly different. So all of these models are live in that regard, and if there are some significant changes to the price action, they vary accordingly. All in all, estimated bull run target or bear market target. Let's start with the bear market bottom for Link. As it stands with respect to the current base bear case is at around $8.57, which is roughly speaking 6.5% low from the current price of $9. Again, not too far from here. The panic case for Link is slightly under $7, which is roughly speaking 25% lower than the current price. The weighted risk is at 0.27. This is how these risks are calculated with respect to the models that we discussed: the regression risk, the time weighted average price risk, and the SMA risk. And the worst case scenario, if the 2026 offers a worst case scenario, then that floor for Link is estimated at around $6 or slightly under $6. To end on a positive note, if let's say everything goes well in 2027-2028, what's the bull case for Link? The base peak and the bull peak for Link is somewhere between $60 and $63, which from the current price is roughly speaking 7x. But let's say if the floor for Link is at around $6, that's from floor to the peak, that rally is roughly speaking 10x. With that, I would like to conclude. Hope you enjoyed the content. If you did, please give a like and subscribe, and hope to see you again tomorrow. Thank you and have a nice day. Bye bye.